Hello everyone and welcome back to Typical City. Does Kalvin Phillips deserve a second chance next season in a Manchester City shirt? For me, absolutely. He does deserve a second chance. He's barely had a fair crack in a City shirt. He's not had a real run in the team. Injuries has played its part, but there are recent comments that are coming out coinciding with the upcoming release of the Amazon Prime documentary Road to City, Kalvin Phillips' Road to City on the 19th of July that releases. And speaking with BBC Radio 5 Live, he has made some interesting comments that I'm not too worried about because this is just a snippet of the documentary. We've not seen the whole thing yet, but there are elements to it that I'm wondering how much has Pep got an eye on that documentary, and is he going to watch it himself and have an opinion on Kalvin's opinions himself? But last season, Kalvin Phillips was dropped returning from the World Cup, and this was prior to the Carabao Cup tie against Liverpool, where Pep described him as in no condition to play. And that was due to him returning overweight. Now, speaking with BBC Radio 5 Live, Kalvin Phillips in the last couple of days has said, for me, I wasn't overweight, but obviously the manager has seen it in a very different way. I just took it and did my best to get as fit as possible. It was a little hard to take just because of how much it was oversized and how many people started talking about it. I was on the bench for the Leeds game straight after that, and I was fit for every match since then. It was just one of those things. It was a misunderstanding from me and some staff members. You will see a lot more in the documentary. So you'll see a lot more in the documentary. Right? I'm hoping this isn't another Jaap Stam Fergie situation, which those of you who don't remember, Jaap Stam took to his autobiography. Back then, there was no Amazon documentaries. You had to state your opinions in an autobiography, which they still do now, of course. But Stam said that Fergie used to encourage cheating and try and emulate other European clubs into diving. If you feel a nick, go down in the penalty box. Jaap Stam said that. Fergie was furious to the point where he chased him down outside of Carrington training ground and into a petrol station and sold him to Lazio and said, we've got an offer from Lazio, you're out, see you later. So you're hoping it doesn't have another situation like that where Kalvin Phillips says something that pisses Pep off so much that you're done, you're out, get out of the club. I'm hoping that's not the case. If that's not the case, then for me, it absolutely deserves a second chance. Kalvin then went on to say, I've spoken to Grealish about my first season struggles. I spoke to quite a few of the lads about their first season at City, about when they joined and how difficult he found it. I presume he didn't speak to Haaland then, because, it didn't take him a year, did it? It took him like 3 minutes to get comfortable in a City shirt, and he was banging in goals left, right and centre. If anything, it's taken Pep 12 months to get used to Haaland, if anything. But Kalvin then carried on saying, they said exactly the same things, that it takes at least 12 months to really understand what the manager wants you to do, the way he wants you to play, and how he wants you to work. But I knew that anyway. I have been friends with Jack for a long, long time. I spoke to him last year when I was struggling to make it into the team, and he was just saying he understands the first season at City is always difficult. Hopefully next season is a lot better for me, and I am just looking forward to getting my head down, seeing the lads again, and getting the season underway. That's the attitude you want. That's the correct way to approach this situation. And it is commendable to approach it like that, considering Pep's words. I know Pep's an honourable man, but those choices of words were a dagger in the heart to most football players. And I'd take it personally, especially if you don't consider yourself overweight and you have been trying to keep yourself trim. And we could be talking a few pounds. We could be talking about the tiniest of detail. But at that level, those details do matter. And Pep is notorious for being meticulous with every single nitty-gritty detail. He cares about the finest, minute things. So if that's what he cares about, that's what he cares about. For me, I would do it behind closed doors, though. I wouldn't take to the press with that. Whether he's trying to light a fire up Kalvin's arse to give him a rocket and get going, sort yourself out and get yourself back to full fitness. Probably he might know Kalvin better than me. Obviously he does. Some players need an arm around the shoulder. Some players need a rocket up the backside. And doing it in public may be another step too far. We've seen Jose Mourinho throw players under the bus. Antonio Conte throw players under the bus. And for me, Pep's thrown him under the bus there. He really has thrown him under the bus. But his performances, when he was given a chance, weren't up to scratch for me. Again, that could be a reflection of Kalvin Phillips's confidence. And I mean, if your manager's gone out and said those things, you've got an extra point to prove. You know, you're not just talking about football now. You've got more things to prove, and you've got to win your manager over again. And you're also trying to squash those accusations that you're overweight, and be nimble on your feet, get around the pitch, be mobile. I mean, he only played 593 minutes last season. So if that's not a chance, that's not a chance at all. And injuries played his part. He got that shoulder injury. I think it was the mid-season charity/friendly game against Barcelona, which was a bit of a random one, that, for him to, and to pick up an injury in such a meaningless game as well. And they were taking it seriously. I remember watching that game, and both teams were going at it for a game that was meant to be for charity and a friendly as well. And they were going at it. They were at each other. And Phillips came out bad in that situation. He came out injured with a shoulder injury that plagued him for a couple of months. There was another injury following that, and as well as missing out, didn't get as much game time in the World Cup. So I've got so much sympathy. The one highlight from Phillips was that screamer away to Bristol in the League Cup. Was it the League Cup or the FA Cup? I can't remember which cup it was, but in about the third minute or something, this rocket just smashed against the bar, and I was like, okay, that was nice. Bit more of that, please, but that's not really what he's in the team for. For me, the biggest area of his game is receiving the ball on the half turn. He needs to improve that, because there were times when I did see him, he was coming on, and it was following the limelight of Rodri was receiving the ball now, and he's mastered the receiving of the ball from Edison or even from the centre-backs, and being able to have eyes behind your head and knowing that you're going to get pressed by the attackers behind you and turning the right way, positioning your body to receive the ball on the half turn, so you can either spray it out to the right fullback or to the right winger, left fullback or to the left winger, whichever way is suited for that situation. He took an extra half second. You could see him receive the ball, and his back was very flat. He was perpendicular to the edge of the area, and I think he needed to receive the ball a little bit on the half turn and see a bigger picture when he's receiving the ball, and be confident as well to hit it first time. You don't need to take a touch a lot of the time. First time passes, or just straight back to Edison if you're not sure. There were times where he was just taking his time a little bit too much, and he got caught on the ball a couple of times. But his range of passing, what we saw at Leeds, he's got a goal in him, like Rodri has, similar. He can strike a ball very, very sweet and true. And he's a ball player. He's got both ends of the game. He's a natural midfielder. He can tackle, he can pass the ball, and his range of passing is something that I think's a bit underrated. We've not even seen it yet. We've not even seen it. And for me, he absolutely deserves a second chance in the City team next season. And whether he's going to get it is dependent on if something else comes out in this documentary. It sounds like it's going to be a good watch. I wasn't that excited about it before this, and seeing that there's little snippets of information now being released to sort of whet the appetite for the viewer to get used to the idea of what this documentary is going to be about. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot about the underdog story and his family lifestyle. His dad's been in prison, and it sounds like he had a harsh upbringing, and to make it is that true underdog story. Everyone loves a true underdog story, so I hope it's good. I hope there's not too many negative connotations with his relationship with City and Pep Guardiola, and not overly positive towards Leeds, because he does mention how he misses the Leeds fans and stuff. You're a City player now, mate. Come on. You need to be backing up City at the end of the day and talking about your pros with the City fans. But he's not really had a chance to build that relationship yet, in fairness to him. So, and in second chances as well, another player for me that deserves a second chance is Sergio Gomez, someone who doesn't have any sort of off-the-field drama to worry about, and he just seems to be getting on with business. An amazing performance in the under-21 Euros, top goal scorer, as gutted as he looked holding up that award after losing in the final to England. There was something about him. He looked like he had the bit between his teeth. And if Pep can find a position for him that he can't defend, that's the biggest issue for me, is he was being asked to play left-back. And the back post positional awareness was atrocious, absolutely atrocious, totally unaware of the man dropping on his shoulder, anyone flicking it out for a corner, doesn't ever play it safe when he's in that position. So defensively, positional awareness was all over the shop, but you give the ball to his feet and he's in the attacking half, and there's space in front of him, namely that Chelsea game. I remember the Chelsea game where he was heavily involved in a move that Walker started at the Etihad, and it sprayed it out wide. Gomez, Rodri, 1-2, playing it around nicely, ended up back with Walker, cuts inside for a Foden tap-in. Really nice move. Sergio Gomez was integral to that move, and we've seen a lot of his technical ability. Got himself an assist in that 6-3 win against United at the Etihad at the start of the season with a nice hard and low cross for Haaland to finish. So put him in the attacking third, but is he good enough to usurp Grealish, your Foden, even Mahrez, Bernardo Silva? There's so many players ahead of him in those roles. Is he going to get given the opportunity to play in that position? And are we going to ask him to play inverted or play as left back? And if that's the case, if he's not good enough to play in the attacking third of the pitch, he's not good enough, he doesn't suit the defensive third of the pitch. So that's where he's stuck in some sort of limbo now. Where is he? How does he fit into this City squad? Because he looks like the sort of player that's going to go on to a team that needs a left-sided midfielder, and he'll shine brightly in that squad. And I hope he can do it in a City shirt, and hopefully he can get more minutes under his belt. He's a City fan, he's got City shirts as a kid, so hopefully that's another player that we'll see shining brightly. And we're talking about transfers and players coming into the squad. We might have two players here that are answering questions already for next season. Players that we talk about like Sergio Gomez and Kalvin Phillips, and second season syndrome. Jack Grealish definitely improved on his second season. Rodri's second season was phenomenal compared to his first season. But then you've got Haaland, who's just a machine. He's like, what are you talking about? Second season syndrome. I don't need a second season. Could he have a bad second season? Who knows? It could be the other way around with Haaland. Could be going on a downward. Not likely. Looking at the way he puts that ball in the back of the net, it looks like it comes second nature to him. It's like breathing to Haaland scoring goals. But what do you guys think? Kalvin Phillips, are you looking forward to the documentary? What do you think about his comments? Do you think he deserves a second chance next season in a City shirt? Same question for Sergio Gomez. Get in the comments below, Blues. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.